death metal was ice cold at that time. Nobody wanted to touch it with a stick.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
Thank you, Adrian. My name is Gustaf. I play bass and do the vocals for Defleshed. Well, sitting in Sweden. That's about it.
And Gustaf, how would you describe the music of Defleshed?
I don't know. It's some kind of grinding thrash metal, I guess, with death metal influences. And we just want to make furious heavy metal, basically, rock and roll heavy metal, and exactly how it turns out in terms of genres and stuff. We don't really know, not too interested in that, but we do thrash metal and heavy metal updated with, furious speed, basically.
Did you say furious speed?
Furious speed, yeah. We like it to be intense. We like it to have, maximal level of energy into the music, that's pretty much the baseline of it all.
Now, with all the influences that you mentioned, the thrash influences, the grind influences, the death metal influences, would you say that your sound is predominantly geared towards the speed element?
I don't know, actually. It also differs from song to song. We don't want to make the same song and same album over and over again, so we try to vary our stuff. So sometimes it's dominating with the death metal influence. Sometimes it's a very fast song and it's all about the speed and the grind. And sometimes, it's all about thrash metal. And so we don't really have a mindset that, we're gonna do music in this particular, genre. We just do it what sounds good to our ears, and then we go with it, basically.
And we'll speak a little bit more about how you guys write songs in a little bit. Gustaf, have you been with Defleshed since the beginning?
Well, not since the first day of the rehearsal of the band. I joined when the band was releasing the first demo. So I joined the band, I think, just a week before the demo was going to be released. So I was the one who who distributed the demo and tried to promote it and everything, you know. And back then I was filling in as a bassist. So it was another singer, and then we did demo 2, and with a second singer, and then on the third demo I was the vocalist of it. So I was there pretty much from the beginning. Yeah.
And what year would that have been when the demo came out?
That would have been in end of 92. Yeah. And the band started, in the end of 91, something like that. Yeah. If I could remember correctly. We were designing T-shirts now, and on one of the designs we had, the established then a year, and then we were debating on which year did the band start, and we had to look it up on the internet. And then it said, 1991, and we said, but it came out 92. In the late 92, so how did it, we couldn't really wrap our heads around it. And then we have a mastermind in Uppsala that has a good memory and is very much into metal, Hewald from Sarcasm, and he said that the band started in 1990 because they did, and he remembered that. So we don't really know exactly when we started. And if we would remember when we started, we don't really remember when the name came to be, So 91, 92, somewhere there. So it's about it, but it's a long time ago. I don't know if it matters.
Originally, what was the intention behind Defleshed? What were you guys hoping to do with this band?
From the beginning, we wanted to do death metal, more traditional death metal, the American way. We wanted to rebel a little bit to the Swedish sound because every band was doing that here, So we wanted to make it a little bit different. We had albums like, Legion with D-side and Morbid Angel albums. We hold them very high, and I guess tried to do something similar to that. But with time, that developed. We found our own kind of style, so to speak, on the road. So 96, when we should start to make songs for the album Under the Blade, we had one album left in the contract, and the first album, Abracadabra, it wasn't really doing well. Death metal was ice cold at that time, nobody wanted to touch it with a stick. So we just thought that, okay, let's do whatever we want, We didn't have any pressure. We just wanted to do, something. So then all the boundaries, were left, and we made that thrashing album Under the Blade. And then it turned out to be that fusion with thrash metal that actually, the metal style that we all grew up with. And we were blending it with the grind element that we took from, the death metal days. And I made the vocals a little bit more high-pitched because it fitted the riffing more, I would say. And then, we got that kind of sound that we felt was maybe not unique, but it was our kind of sound, So that's basically where it came to be. So in one sense, we would consider Under the Blade, our second album, to be our debut album when it comes to the sound that we wanted.
Right. So Under the Blade would be the first album where you really started establishing this thrashy style with the blast beats alongside it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say so. Everything up until then was, a path of finding your style and your sound. Even though, we don't deny those albums in any means, absolutely not. It's a part of our history. But it was with that album, Under the Blade, that everything came to be, so to speak. And we also, for the first time, got recognition and appreciation for our music. So, well, that's the style that we have developed ever since.
From when Under the Blade came out till 2005, when you released your fifth album, is it fourth album or fifth album, Reclaim the Beat?
That would be our fifth album, because this one is the sixth that we have in the loop now. Yeah,
okay. Fifth. So until you released your fifth album, Reclaim the Beat, you guys were releasing albums fairly regularly. And then you guys went on a long break. What happened? Where did you guys go during that period?
Well, I mean, it was our fifth album, and we had back then, I mean, the band, we have had a band for like 13 or 14 or 15 years, I don't know, depending on when we started. But it was time to do something else, we felt, you know. We had pretty much taken our sound to where we thought that we could take it, and we were with a label that didn't really, you know, push us in any directions. You know, we had a sense of stagnation, basically. And then Matti had other obligations with Dark Funeral and Raised Fist, and I had other things that I wanted to do musically, and we were basically tired of this band. And I mean, Defleshed is a kind of band that if you don't, you know, if you don't have, you know, full enthusiasm for it, it's not possible to continue with it, you know, because you need a certain level of inspiration and energy to go forward with the band and with the music, and we didn't really have that at the time. So that's when we said that, okay, let's fold this. And we thought, you know, forever, but because none of us are keen on reunions, but here we are, I guess.
We'll speak about the reunion and this latest album in a little bit. I'd like to speak about the process with which you write songs. How does it usually start for you guys?
Well, we have a pretty streamlined working process, and it's starting off with Lars doing the riffing and the songs, ideas of the songs and the riffs. And then as for this time, those songs came to me without drums, only his riffing on tape, you know. And then it was up to me to put some vocal patterns and lyrics to it. And then we funneled it back to Matti right before we entered the studio, and he put the beats to it. So it's basically, you know, like the game that you had in kindergarten, you know, when kid number one starts writing a drawing, push it further to kid number two and continue that drawing, and then to the kid number three completing it, so to speak, you know. And that's a little bit interesting because none of us could write a Defleshed song on our own. We need all three, you know, pieces to be put together to make the song to what it's gonna be, you know. So all of us are surprising the other guy in this process, because it never came out the way that, you know, the first guy thought, so to speak. It's pretty interesting, actually, yeah.
So the music that Lars sends to you, how complete are they in terms of the arrangements?
In this case, it was almost complete. I changed a little. Sometimes, you know, I find a part in there in the song that I want to turn to a chorus, you know, or I have some special idea, and I say, oh, can you take this? Can you take this part one more time so I can make a chorus of it? Or we should have a break here because this is fantastic, you know. And I have inputs to the arrangement that he comes to with, but those are mainly inputs at this time, you know. So in this case, it was almost complete, I would say. But again, he started to write the songs in November, and in January we entered the studio. So the time window is very narrow in which we have to make everything happen. So there's not so much time to shovel things back and forth too much, you know. And I think that's a good thing, because the more we think, the more time you have to think through things, you know, the less spontaneous they come. And I put value on the spontaneous element in it, because it comes more from the reptile brain, so to speak, you know, and that fits our way of working really good. Yeah.
Now, on the older albums, was it a similar process? Did the song start with Lars coming up with riffs and arrangements and then sending it to you guys?
Yeah, well, not really. Back in the day, it's always Lars that comes with the riffs, of course. He's the only guitarist we have, and he's a phenomenal one. So he's the one that comes, you know, with the main ideas. But usually he and Matti made the songs in the rehearsal room. and, made a joint effort to make those riffs into songs and to add beats to them at that time. And then I used to show up in the end and, listen to it, gave my input on arrangements, depending on how I wanted to do with the lyrics. That's the way we used to make it. And that's also the way we made it on the two songs that we recorded 2 years ago now, the Night Vision and the Fleshless and Void songs that ended up as a 7-inch. But this time, we didn't really have that opportunity. Mate didn't have the time to engage in those songs, so they came to me before they came to him this time. It's just the way we did it this time. But usually we put the songs together in the rehearsal room.
Let's speak about the songs that you wrote for that 7-inch briefly before we speak about this new album. Because as you said, the band had been put on hold, perhaps permanently, and you guys weren't intending to have any kind of reunion. What ended up leading to the three of you deciding to work together again?
Yeah, well, it was talks of us releasing a vinyl box with all the old albums, in one box. And how to make that special and everything. And then I got this idea that, wouldn't it be cool to add a new produced 7-inch in there. As soon as you open the box, the first thing you see is a 7-inch that you've never seen before. You've never heard of it before, That was my intention. And I asked the guys, fuck 2 songs. Sure, we can make 2 songs, right? And they were on board on that. And we contacted Thomas Skogsberg, which Mate had worked with before. So we wanted to do it very, very quick and non-prestigious. We just recorded those 2 songs in the Studio Sunlight. And then, Lawrence McCrory mixed those for us and mastered it. And they turned out so much better, and the process was so much more fun that we remember it. So we that, and also the fact that the vinyl box never happened, made us to discuss if we should release those songs as standalone. And then we started to discuss if we get a good record deal, with a decent label this time, should we aim for a full length? And then we all agreed on that. So that was basically how it came about. It started with just, the idea of recording 2 songs just for the fun of it, and, to add it into the box. So it was not a big master plan of having a big reunion or coming back and all that. But one thing led to another, I guess. And now we are sitting with a new album suddenly. Strange, yeah.
Strange, but also very good. As somebody who's been listening to Defleshed for, I don't know, almost 25 years at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But let's get back to that single. The 2 songs that you're talking about ended up being on the Fleshless and Wild single. What was the reaction when these songs came out? Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, that's when we started our social media, effort, with having an account, started up an account on Facebook and one on Instagram. And then we just broadcasted everything from there. So, of course, when you do that and you get a certain amount of followers, they are very positive about it. So that's the reaction that we got. So I don't really know all the other reactions that you also get, everybody that doesn't think that you should reunite. That never reached us. So I guess that there are some people that don't like the idea of the band being reunited. But I don't know. We don't do it for the guys who doesn't like us. We do it for those who do. So we could tell that it was a huge response, and people were surprised, positively surprised, and also very surprised about the quality of the songs. That it sounded like not a day has passed and all that, and you cannot hear that the guys are in the 50s now. Stuff like that. So that's good. That's good, of course. I'm biased. I mean, I see it from the positive end. I couldn't really have a balanced answer to that because I only got to the positive feedback, of course,
Yeah. And for you guys personally, how did it feel to be Defleshed again?
Oh, I mean, I think it's better than ever. Actually, I think as a band, we are thriving better than ever, actually, right now, because a long time has passed. Hunger has been restored into the music and into the band again. And I mean, we are not different individuals, but we are older. We are more respectful to each other. We listen to each other, and we can stand each other in different, from different perspectives, so to speak. And I think now it's only fun, and that's the way it should be. And since we don't have any high hopes of conquering the world and stuff anymore, it's not that dead serious to us. We are serious when it comes to providing quality with for the music, but we are not that serious when it comes to we have to optimize, the success of the band and all that. We take things as it comes, and it creates a much more laid-back mode within us three. So I think it's all good now. Yeah.
That's great. So let's speak about Grind Over Matter. This will be your first album since 2005, and it's coming out on the 28th of October through Metal Blade Records. We spoke about the genesis of this album and how songs started with Lars and what led to you guys getting together. Can you tell me again when you actually started working on the songs for this album?
For this album, it was in November last year, so less than a year ago. And we had a studio booked for end of January. I think we entered the studio the 24th of January. So the entire November and up until Christmas, Lars sat with his guitar every day and made songs. And around Christmas, those songs came to me. And I started to make lyrics and everything and put the titles to them. And then they were ready pretty much the same day we went into the studio.
Is that how you guys like to work? Do you like to have the studio booked before you have the songs completed?
Yeah, we need to have a deadline to make something happen at all, you know. I don't know, but we all three works in the same way. That's not entirely positive, but we need the knife to our throats to actually, you know, do something, so to speak. You know, we need a harder deadline to initiate the process. And then we procrastinate that into the last minute, but then everything comes. And I think that's a very uncomfortable way to work, because, you know, when you enter that zone, when you finally open that door and you enter that zone, that's your zone for 1 or 2 or 3 months, you know, and it's very intense and demanding. But on the other hand, then you are so focused on what you're doing that it will turn out good anyway. And we couldn't have it the other way around, that we had endless time to think about every small detail and push things back and forth, you know. It would be compromised to shit. So I think this is the way it you know, the songs come out the best way, actually. It's that we do things with, you know, when our blood is, you know, rushing because we are almost panicking, red lines and stuff like that. And that certainly puts some flavor to the music, I would say, and to the arrangements and everything.
Would you say that having that pressure, that deadline, adds to the energy of the album? Yeah,
I would definitely say so. Sure, we could do some things a lot better if we had more time, but some other more essential things would go to waste, I would guess, you know. So sometimes it's not good to have, you know, an ocean of time, because I don't think it would benefit to the music when it comes to, you know, the format that is Defleshed. How other bands do it, and I mean, it could be different for other bands. And I have been in other constellations that we work differently, but within us three, this seemed to work the best. Although, that said, I would appreciate to have a little bit more time for the lyrics sometimes, you know, because that should be beyond what's saying, I guess, sometimes. But it turns out good in the end. And then also this time when we recorded, it was a little bit different to how we used to. Usually we book the studio for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we go down there into our zone and we make the whole album, and then we don't leave until, you know, we have an album ready. But this time we had the opportunity to work with Lawrence, that are based in our hometown, Uppsala. And that made us go there, you know, a little bit in evenings and in weekends. And we had some air between the takes, so we could get this perspective from the recording. So, I mean, it wasn't the period, we didn't spend more time in the studio than we used to, but it was, you know, so to speak, extended over a longer period of time, which allowed us to get a bit of perspective on the work. Especially for me, it was very useful, because I could go back listening to you know, the songs and maybe think that, okay, I should probably rewrite this phrase, or, you know, record this part once again. This could be better, you know.
And we'll speak a little bit more about working with Lawrence. How would you describe the music on Grind Over Matter, and how do you compare it to your previous albums?
Yeah, well, that's it's very hard for me because I'm looking at it from the inside, and I don't really have that perspective needed, I guess. But what we wanted to do was to on the one hand, we wanted to, you know, stay true to the sound that we have, so to speak, but on the other hand, we didn't want to repeat the old albums. We didn't want to make a fast forward 2.0. You know, we needed to add some new flavors to it, and we needed to take it into, you know, after all, it's 2022 now, and we needed to, make that present in our music a little bit. So I would say it's Defleshed, but we have, maybe a more matured sound. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Would you say that there's even more of a classic thrash or classic heavy metal flavor to this album?
I don't know. I think we always had that. Sometimes, it's a classic heavy metal riff appears, often as a stick into the song or something like that. And it has been before as well. But yeah, well, I don't really know how we just didn't want to repeat the same old songs, but we wanted to sound Defleshed with new, fresh songs. And since we have all been doing different things musically during all these years, and for me personally, I don't know if it's right or not, but I believe I can hear that Matti has spent some time with raised fists on this album, because, there are some things that sounds like Matti, but in the way he did it with raised fists, and I think that's an example of things that makes the sound more mature, Our influences have been, come together into this new album, and it has come together nicely. So, I mean, the alternative would be that we would have released albums during all these 17 years, and I would probably, I'm pretty sure that an album with this band today, given it would have been our 12th or 13th album, wouldn't have been as potent as this new one is.
Do you think the break re-energized you guys?
Yes, of course. I mean, the as I said, the hunger is restored, and the energy level is on 100 again. So, and that's I mean, you need that to make this kind of music relevant.
Increases speed, slow the gas, release the grade.
As you mentioned, this was recorded with Lawrence McRory at his studio, Rory Sound Studios. People listening to this podcast may know Lawrence from his time as the vocalist for Darkane. For you guys, what do you like about working with Lawrence?
I mean, the first time we worked with Lawrence was for the 2 songs on the Fleshless and Wild, because he did remix it after we recorded it in Studio Sunlight. So, but that was only mixing, so we had not recorded with him. We have known the guy since ages, of course, being from the same town, and he also plays in FKU, that's Uppsala based, and we know them since forever. But so for this album, but he did such a great job on the remixing part and the mastering there. So, and also being in Uppsala, and he gave us this opportunity to come to his studio a little bit by bit, and putting it together. And he say, we don't stop until we have an awesome album. And he had us on that, so we decided to go with the album, to record it with him. And I mean, that was a great decision, I would say, because he really put his soul into this, and it sounds awesome. We couldn't have done this without him, so it was really good. And I think the key was that we do everything in, strict 20 days in a row. That we could, put some air between the takes and go back and listen to it a little bit, not too much, not to start, compromising of things and redo everything, but within the boundaries of, reason. We had the opportunity to do retakes after have listened to it, and, add a little bit more quality to what's already been made and such. So he's an essential part, of course, of this album turning out the way it did.
How long did it take to track the instruments in total?
I think we spent a period of 2 weeks for the drums, and then I think if you compromise it to days, it was probably in 5 days or something. And then the guitars went fairly quick, because Lars has, he had sit with the songs since November, so he was very much up to speed with the songs, and we didn't make 8. It's not 8-track guitars there. There are basically 2 guitars. So I think he made it in more or less 3 or 4 days. And then the bass, he recorded the bass for me because he knew all the songs. That's the most time effective way to do it, because then I could focus on the songs and the lyrics in total instead of learning all the songs. He would record it better than me anyhow, so we did it that way. And I think he put the bass down in 2 days. And then I think I spent maybe a week with the vocals in total, but into different sessions. So I guess the recording, if you count it in days, it was maybe 18 days, something like that. And then all the time for the mixing, of course, and the mastering. And that I don't know, because we weren't present during the mixing of it.
Sure. I'm curious. I frequently speak to people about the recording sessions, and for most of the bands I speak to, and this has more to do with budget than anything else, but they usually have about 3 or 4 days to do all the recording. As far as the time that you spent recording this album, would you say that you guys are perfectionists? Or was it more of a wanting to have a relaxed environment when you recorded?
I mean, it's both. I mean, when it comes for the music per se, I mean, the drums and the guitars, we are perfectionists. And that's because Lars has very high standards. I mean, I have never met anybody that hears when it's just so slightly offbeat, or, he picks it up immediately. For me, it doesn't really matter. I can think that a certain amount of sloppiness adds to charm. I mean, some of my favorite albums through all times are Symphonies of Sickness with Carcass and Battles in the North with Immortal. But he's very, very picky on that, and so it ends up very perfect. with him, in this mix. But when it comes to, the sound of it, or we are not perfectionists in that way. It doesn't have to, it needs to be good to our ears, but it doesn't have to look good on the screen, if you know the difference. Some studios, they are, so focused on how it looks on the screen and doesn't, listen with the ears. And that was very much the case when we recorded the guitars for Reclaim the Beat. It had to look good on the screen. That's not really the baseline of this band, I would say. We have a very good navigation with Lars when it comes to what's perfect or not. So, and that's by ear. So we don't need to visualize it all.
By looking good on the screen, you mean you're referring to the engineer wanted everything to line up on the recording software, right? Line up on the grid?
Yeah, and putting all the beats on the grid, just because you can see on the screen the slightest off beat, why should you move that? That's a human thing, and we want the music to sound live, and the sound. We don't want it to sound like AI or something like that. It should be a certain amount of human error in it, but we do it as good as we can, of course. When you come to that you sit with the screen and you start to move everything, drums that sounded so good, start to cut it up and move it to make it absolutely perfect. I cannot really relate to that at all. There should be some charm left into the music. Otherwise, we could. I think that's. I don't know. I think that's the problem, or that's the, what can I say? Metal today has fooled itself to move into that lane that it has developed to be more and more perfect. And I think that's deviating from the main or the origin goal of it, when everything was just rebellion and it came with a certain amount of punk into it, and you don't get that feel with everything being perfect. So that's what we want to rebel to that a little bit. And actually we wanted to record this album entirely without tempo, without click, without metronome, but we ended up not doing that because it would take much longer time in the mixing phase and all that. So we skipped that idea, but that's how we worked before, and I think that's what makes the older albums sound interesting still. It's because you can feel, it's a living, live band with the living band members breathing and bleeding there.
Absolutely. But, as we started this conversation trying to describe Defleshed sound, and, you spoke about how it's very fast and very furious. Is Lars' pickiness and his precision also a big part of the sound?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. None of us, Defleshed would not have been Defleshed without his kind of riffing, that's just the way it is. And he has a very certain tone to his guitar with his galloping right hand riffing, over grinding drums. And he doesn't, he practiced so hard to get the right hand up to speed like it used to be, back in the day. So I cannot really grasp how much he has practiced prior to this recording. Actually, it's unbelievable. He doesn't leave anything to chance when it comes to his guitar playing.
Did Lawrence also do the mixing and mastering for this album?
Yes, he took care of it all.
What would you say he brought to your sound?
Well, first of all, none of us knows anything about engineering or levels or anything like that. And he has very, very good ear for that, Lawrence. So we felt very comfortable leaving it all to him. And I think that was also a driver for his motivation, that he could own it all when it comes to the sound. Because that's the way we work. Lars owns the songs, the guitars, Matte owns the drumming, I own the lyric and how I put the vocals. Nobody really, we own our certain area of expertise. And now Lawrence came into the band and he owned the sound of it. Of course we could have say to it, and he knew what kind of sound that we wanted, but he had pretty much free hands to do whatever he wanted sound wise, and he could call us up and say, hey guys, I tried this, and then he sent a sound clip, and then he added some things that he thought of, some extra things, and I think I believe that he had a really fun time doing this as well.
Would you say that he brought more depth or more, I don't know, like wideness to your sound for this album?
Yeah, maybe. At least he added some punch to it and more, bass tone there. We have on the early albums, we lacked a bit of bass in there, I think. I mean, I don't mean the instrument bass, but the sound of the bass, the lower the frequency. But he added that, and that's a little bit tricky because it can interfere with all the other frequencies that you want to highlight. But I mean, he has very good ears for how to make the mix, the most of the mix, to make everything, audible, but still not drowning and doesn't to not dominate over something else, and exactly what he did there, I don't really know, because I'm not into sound at all. I'm happy to stay out of that, but we haven't really sounded this good before, I think, because it's not too. You can hear that it's a living and breathing album, but still because it's not too perfect, but still it is has very much push into the sound, and we needed that.
As you mentioned, this album will be coming out on Metal Blade. You guys had a relationship with Metal Blade before, right? Didn't they license Under the Blade?
Yeah, exactly. They licensed the Under the Blade album in the States in 97, 98 there. So, and that's actually, I would say, the only time that we had some good thing going label-wise with this band up until now. So it was a huge, it was when they made the offer for this album, it was, nothing to think about. It was just jump on that, because I doubt that we would have made this album if it wouldn't have been for a decent label like Metal Blade. Because we didn't need to make an album only for the sake of it. We needed to know that somebody actually take care of it this time. It's a lot of effort into making a recording, a lot of energy into going there, and why do it for something that will not be taken care of in the proper way, But they came with that, and that's good. But we knew them since '98. So I mean, the German representatives here, Andreas Reisnauer, he's been into the band since a long time, and we have met on festivals, and he's always very supportive to the band. And he and my previous band, Evocation, was also Metal Blade, so we had established that contact already.
Did they get involved before you guys had the album written and were ready to record, or did it happen after the recording was finished?
No, they were involved before. If I remember correctly, we had the dialogue. We started dialogue with them last autumn, and they said that, okay, make an album. And then we said, okay. And then they had a specific time when they wanted it to be released, which was now this fall. And they asked, can you make it? And then we said, okay, then we have to record it soon, because, the vinyl, it takes so long time to press the vinyl. So we had to have the recording ready by March. And then we said, okay, then we have to start the recording in January. So all of a sudden, everything needed to happen very fast. Yeah.
As we're having this conversation, the album is going to be out in a few weeks. What do you guys have planned for after that?
That very weekend, we will have a release show weekend in Uppsala on that date, 28th of October. That's our hometown. We have some cool ideas for that. And the day after, we will play Karlstad, also in Sweden, more to the border of Norway. And then we would make, a few shows in Sweden. And we will also go in end November to a festival in Germany. And then in December, we will make a small tour in Japan, which we visited back in 2001, I think. So it would be a great revisit there. And for the next year, we are currently booking festivals and shows right now. So we will not embark on our any long extended tours, but we will make some festivals, here and there. That's pretty much what we have set our minds to right now.
Very cool. Are you excited to be on the road again and to be playing shows again?
Yeah, well, of course, I couldn't say any other thing, of course, but yes, I am. But that said, I need to say that it doesn't come for free, man. Rehearsing those songs again, and for me personally, pick them out on bass again and adding vocals to it and remembering all the lyrics and put that all together, stand there on the stage, alone with Lars, because Matti is behind the drum kit. We're trying to fill the scene there. Also, with the talks between the songs and everything, it's a big machinery, actually. So it's not entirely without pressure. And I've been agonizing that moment for a pretty long time now. But I think I'm in the phase now that I feel comfortable enough to feel that I know the songs and everything good enough for feeling pretty relaxed towards it now. But I mean, if you would have asked me for 1 month ago, I would almost say that, fuck, what did I do? Why did I even open this door? But once we've done that, and once we programmed those songs into our minds again, we said that we need not only one show, because then, the effort is not worth it. We need minimum 10 shows to start that chapter, and that we have, and then some. So, once the machinery is in rotation, we can add the shows to that, absolutely, but not too much. Not too much. We cannot be away for too long time. So long tours is out of the question. We focus on weekend shows or festivals and stuff like that, and I think it will be good. I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely, it will be fun once we are there. But from it has been an uphill experience for a long time now when it comes to rehearsing and all that, and get ready to roll on live gigs. Yeah.
Cool. So by the time people hear this podcast, Grind Over Matter will be out through Metal Blade Records. Gustaf, how can people order the album? What's the best way to get it?
I think if you go, we have our launch at metalblade.com/defleshed. And then there the album is available and all the different kind of vinyls and everything. Right now there's a pre-order for it. I don't know how much will be left when the album is released, but I would say that's where the full variation of albums is. Then we are having a web shop of our own up and running until the release date, and there we will focus on having shirts and merchandise up, and it will be, I don't know exactly what kind of address it is, but Hell Oil will be the destination for that. So helloil.com, based in Sweden. So those guys will take care of that shop, because we don't do that by ourselves. It's too much work,
Yeah. Do you want to say anything briefly about the limited edition vinyl that Metal Blade is putting out?
Yeah, well, they have 7 different vinyls out in different, not shapes, but in different colors and thickness. There will be one that's exclusively for the Swedish distributor Sound Pollution. To get that, you need to get it by Sound Pollution, and then they have the other vinyls will be available through Metal Blade, and I don't know if they will be distributed elsewhere as well. I mean, they are limited to 300 copies each, and I guess they are available as long as they are. So if you need that piece of plastic, you need to be quick. I think we will have some in our web shop as well, but maybe not the most limited, restricted ones. So, yeah.
And if people want to follow Defleshed online and keep up to date with what you guys are doing and find out about the shows that are coming up, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, but then follow our Facebook page or Instagram page. They are linked, but that's where we funnel our message to the audience. It's run by us, so it's how we communicate. Basically, I don't think we will focus on a traditional website or anything like that. We go with the social media and try to do it as best as we can. But I mean, you have to remember we are from the old generation and we are not too present. We don't post things every day and stuff like that. But when there is some news to broadcast, we will do it through our Facebook and our Instagram. That's pretty much it. I don't think we will have a Twitter or a TikTok or something like that. It's enough as it is. Sorry, we are old school and mostly offline as well.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Well, I hope you enjoyed the Grind Over Matter album as much as we enjoyed making it. This is in a big extent, it's a homage to the guys that have bugged us for 17 years to reunite and to make more music, and now it's out there. So please check it out.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Gus.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Take care now, and hope to see you in Japan.